Hi there, my name is Rachael Davies, and I'm the founder of Korrinn. I'm absolutely delighted to be here with you today. So, my company is called Korrinn, which is a tech consultant agency, and this is where I focus on helping my clients develop and implement AI strategies, go to market strategies, and also product development. Today, I'll be walking you through how AI can empower your organization, and I will say to please post your questions in the chat, and I will answer them at the end. Let's dive in. So it's important to separate what AI can do today versus what's hype. So today, AI is mostly useful for text, data, and content support. So these are tools that we can actually deploy quite easily and cheaply. So what it's not a self-thinking robot, neither is it fully autonomous. So these are things that are still science fiction. And the framing is quite important, otherwise we do risk overestimating or fearing the wrong things. So AI is transforming, not taking over the job market by automating routine tasks and creating opportunities rather than causing widespread job destruction. While some roles, particularly those involving repetitive activities, may see some job displacement, there is research out there that indicates it's only a small fraction of jobs that are fully autonomous. And also, most occupations will be enhanced, allowing workers to focus on higher value creative tasks. So, overall, the economic outlook suggests an increased productivity, new job creation, but it will require adaptation and reskilling to align with the ever evolving workforce. Before we get into the practical uses of AI, let's pause and demystify what we actually mean by AI. So, there is a lot of jargon out there and it can feel quite overwhelming. So we'll start off with AI, artificial intelligence. So at its simplest, AI is just systems that learn patterns from data and then use those patterns to make predictions or to generate outputs. So if you give it enough examples, it starts to recognize what will come next. And then we have machine learning. So this is one way AI works. So think of it like teaching a computer by example. If you show it 100 pictures of cats, it'll eventually figure out what makes a cat and it can spot one in a new picture. Next up, we have generative AI. So this is the newest wave. So these are tools like ChatGPT or image generators that don't just analyze, but they also create. They can write text, generate images, or even produce audio and video. And an analogy that I like to use is like to think of AI as a helpful intern. It's fast, it's enthusiastic, and it can take a lot of tasks off your plate. But it does get things wrong sometimes and it needs supervision. So, for example, you wouldn't send your intern's first draft straight to your clients or to your donors without reviewing it. So, when you strip away the hype, AI isn't this magical or mysterious thing. It's a tool, and it's a tool that you can use in a very smart and purposeful way. You've probably heard the term LLM or a large language model, but what does it actually mean? So at its core, an LLM is an AI trained on massive amount of text so it can understand and generate language. So think of things like emails, reports, policies, or conversations. They're essentially the engines that power tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot. So then I'd say to think of an LLM as a very advanced text predictor. It doesn't think like a human, but it's trained on patterns of language so it can draft contents, answer questions, summarize long documents, and even analyze data in plain English. And you're wondering, why does that matter? So for SMEs, this means that you have faster workflows when it comes to writing content, summarizing meetings, or pulling insights from spreadsheets. And then from a charity perspective, it means stretching resources, drafting grant applications, producing newsletters, or answering community FAQs automatically. And one thing that's important to note is that not all LLMs are the same. And like I've said, ChatGPT is the most well known and versatile. And then the likes of Claude is excellent at handling very, very long documents. And then you'll have Google's Gemini, which integrates into your workspace if you live in if your team lives in Docs, Sheets, or Gmail. And then you also have Microsoft Copilot, which does the same for the likes of Word, Excel, Outlook, and Teams. And then you have open source models such as Llama, which is Meta's one, which can be customized, but it does require that bit of extra technical expertise. So the kind of key takeaway from this is you don't need to learn every single LLM that's out there. And what matters most is picking the one that fits your organization's workflow and needs. And for example, if you're already using either Microsoft or Google Workspace today, you can start there. So, and if you're looking for a bit of more flexibility, you can try ChatGPT or Claude. And this video is kind of like a detailed breakdown of how LLMs work. I have a table here, which is just a high level summary of the LLMs that I recently referred to. So I'll start off with ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's. So it's great as a general purpose assistant. So that's for writing, brainstorming, answering questions. It's versatile and easy to use, which makes it a great entry point for most SMEs and charities. And then moving on to Claude. Claude is particularly good at handling long documents, like I just mentioned, so up to hundreds of pages if needed. It's also designed with safety and ethics in mind, so that makes it useful for policy review, large reports, or sensitive content. And then we have Gemini, which is Google's LLM. It integrates with the Google Workspace, so think Sheets, Docs, and Gmail, and it's a huge plus if you're already using it. It's also web connected, which means it can pull in real time information. And out of all of them, Gemini has the best memory, so it gives you the biggest context window. And you might be wondering, what is a context window? So, a context window is the short term memory of an AI model. So, that's specifically how much information it could process and remember at one given time to generate its response. And then we have Copilot, and this is Microsoft's engine. So you can embed that straight into Word, Excel, Outlook, or Teams. And like I said, if your organization already lives in Microsoft 365, this is a natural way to save time on reports, presentations, and also emails. And finally, we have Llama, which is Meta's open source model. Unlike the others, it's not a ready made assistant. But if you do have developers, they can customize it to build private or specialized tools. And it's powerful enough for organizations with quite large technical teams, but it's not something for the average SME or charity would use straight off the shelf. So the big picture is all of these models are capable, but they shine in different contexts. So that's one thing you got to remember. And I'm sure we're all familiar with ChatGPT. So this table here gives an overview of all the main models that are available today, what they're best at, and when you might use them in your organization. Like I said, do not worry about memorizing the details. The key is matching the right model to the right task. So starting off with GPT-5, it's the most advanced model. It's also excellent for deep reasoning and also highly accurate outputs. So you would use this when the stakes are high, you're using strategy documents, grant proposals, or developing training materials. The trade-off is that it is slower and more expensive. So it's not something you would use for, drafting a very short email. And then we have 4.0. It's called Omni because it can handle text, images, and even audio in the same conversation. That makes it great for things like visual reports, training content, or interactive resources. It's also flexible and user friendly, but it is still developing enterprise integrations. And then we have 4, or also known as Turbo. It's still a reliable workhorse for professional writing. So Turbo versions make it's faster and it's also cheaper. It's also ideal for the likes of your everyday reports, newsletters, campaigns, and internal communications. So for most SMEs and charities, 4 would be the sweet spot. And then we have 3.5, which is the lightweight version. It's fast and it's also low cost. It's useful for like simple repetitive tasks such as the short emails, your social posts, or your chatbot. However, it's not as reliable for complex reasoning or sensitive documents. And then you have your custom GPTs. So these can be trained in your own organization's knowledge. So that's your policies, your FAQs, or your fundraising info. So this means that your staff or volunteers can get instant answers without having to search through multiple files. And the main consideration is your data privacy. So you want to be careful about the information that you upload. And this is just a quick video that shows you how you can customize your ChatGPT so your prompts are more accurate and also the model knows you better. So you might be wondering, like, why does AI matter for me? Why does it matter for my organization or my charity? It matters for all organizations, but the reasons look slightly different for SMEs and charities. So both face resource constraints, but they apply in different ways. So for SMEs, small and medium business often compete against much larger players with more resources, and AI can actually help level that playing field. Like I said, it can automate repetitive tasks such as emails, reporting, and scheduling, and then it also frees up your staff for higher value work. It can help you enhance your customer service. So, for example, the chatbots can handle simple questions, so that way your teams can focus on more complex needs. And most importantly, it allows your organization to stay nimble, to focus on growth, creativity, and strategies. So when you look at it from a charity perspective, so charities face a completely different challenge. They have to do more with less. So whether that's limited staff and tight budget, this means that every hour counts. So AI can help you stretch those resources further, like help you draft your grant applications, produce your donor letters, or also automate your routine report. It enables more personalized donor communications and support engagement, improving relationship without, hiring the extra staff. And then when you look at the chatbots and the FAQs, it can help your communities access support all around the clock while staff stay focused on human connection. Ultimately, AI helps you scale impact without scaling headcount, reaching more people more efficiently. And then looking specifically at AI for charities, like I mentioned previously, charities do often face resource constraints, limited staff, and limited budgets, and AI can actually help you extend capacity. It can help you when it comes to your donor communications and also reporting. And crucially, it allows your charities to scale outreach and also engagement without the need of hiring extra staff. So, unlike large corporations, charities are often working with very limited staff, and this is why AI can make such a big difference. It can help you, as a charity, it can help you do more with less. It's like adding extra capacity without having to add that extra salary. So, this might mean automating your reports, drafting your newsletter, or also handling basic queries. And many charities spend hours applying for funding, and AI can help you create that first draft of your grant applications and also your fundraising letters or help you put together a campaign copy. And this can also, in return, free up your staff to focus on strategy and storytelling. And then looking at it from a donor and support communications, so it can personalize that support comms. For example, it can segment your donors and tailor your messages to different audiences, improving engagement and also loyalty. And looking at it from the perspective of community engagements. So, chatbots and AI driven FAQs can give communities 24 access to basic information. And this will also, in return, again, free up your staff to handle more complex human conversations. And most importantly, AI allows charities to scale impact without scaling staff. So that means it can enable outreach, education, and awareness campaigns to reach more people without burning out your team. So this frees up people to focus on what they do best, connecting with communities and delivering impact. So the big idea is this: AI isn't about replacing people in your organization or your workforce. It's about freeing them up so staff and volunteers and leaders can focus on the deeply human side of work connection, empathy, and also impact. On a more practical level, what can you actually start doing with AI without huge budgets, technical skills, or big risks? So, here are some entry level uses you can try straight away, along with some examples of tools. So, looking at admin and productivity. So, AI is brilliant for everyday admin. Tools like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot can draft your emails, policies, or report. You give it a rough idea and it gives you a structured first draft. And then for meetings, apps such as Otter AI or Fireflies can transcribe and also summarize discussions, saving hours on note taking. And then looking at it from marketing and communications, in marketing, AI tools can actually speed things up quite massively. One of my favorites is Canva Magic Tools, and it can actually generate visuals and also social captions quite instantly. And then Jasper is another writing assistant that can help you create your blog posts or campaigns. And then for frontline engagement, you can even use simple chatbots to answer FAQs on your websites, giving your supporters or customers help 24/7. And then on a fundraising and growth level, AI can help you draft your applications and donor letters. It won't, however, write the perfect application for you, but it will give you a head start. And ChatGPT is especially good at this. And you can also use AI inside of your CRM with tools like Excel, Copilot to segment your donor or members list, and also to help you spot patterns you may not see manually. And then looking at it from kind of like how it can help you with decision and support. So it just doesn't generate content, it can also help you along in your decision making process. So tools like Google Sheets AI or Excel Copilot can analyze your spreadsheets, highlight trends, or forecast patterns. So, for example, it might help you spot seasonal donation dips or predict when your customers are most likely to drop off. The key message is you don't need to overhaul your organization to start using AI. Just pick one small, low stakes area like drafting emails or creating social posts and test it from there. Build your confidence and then start to scale gradually. So, AI can be powerful, but only if we use it responsibly. For SMEs and charities, trust is everything. So, whether that's with your customers, your donors, and your communities. So, this means that you need simple common sense guardrails. The first one we have up here is transparency. So, be open about when you've used AI. For example, if a part of a donor letter was drafted with AI, you can acknowledge that. It also builds trust and also avoids surprises. And then we have supervision. Always keep a human in the loop. AI can draft, but people must review and decide what's fit to publish. So, like I said, think of it as an intern whose work needs checking. And then we also have the bias awareness. So, AI is trained on past data, which means it can reflect on biases and also stereotypes. It's always important to check, does this output feel fair, respectful, and inclusive? And then looking at it from a privacy and security standpoint. So never paste confidential or personal information into public AI tools. Treat them like social media. Just assume that anything you type could be seen outside your organization. And finally, ask, does this tool genuinely support my organization's mission or values? So not every shiny tool or every new feature is useful. Focus on where AI can actually add real value for you. And the easiest way to think of responsible AI is like food hygiene rules. They're simple, they're sensible, and they protect trust. And if you follow these principles, you'll be able to adopt AI confidently and also ethically. We've covered quite a bit today, so let me leave you with a few takeaways to remember. Firstly, AI isn't magic or science fiction. It's simply a tool that learns patterns from data. Once you understand that, the jargon feels less intimidating. Secondly, AI really does matter for SMEs and charities. It helps smaller organizations compete, and it also helps charities stretch their resources even further. And don't overthink where to start. The best ways to build confidence is to try one small, low stakes experiment this week. So maybe that's drafting an email or a donor thank you post or even a social media post. And finally, make sure to use AI responsibly. Keep it transparent, keep a human in the loop, and always ask, does this tool support our mission and our values? So, a challenge if you want to try is to just experiment with AI this week and share what you learn with your team. And that's how adoption starts, step by step, and not all at once. Thank you.